What up? What up? All right. Let me go ahead and just get started. Let's get started. All right. Let's go ahead and kick it off with the indices. Let's start with the Dow because we haven't looked at it in a little bit. Looks like it's trying to bottom off of a clean support level here around 348. Let's take a look at IWM. I definitely was not expecting this type of day in IWM. What are we up? 3 points, right? So definitely wasn't looking for that. Now the signal or, potential signal was this, reversal candle potentially here, this like little doji, this indecision candle. So I thought there was a possibility we might bounce off of 210. I just didn't think that we'd push all the way back up to 215 like that. So, very interesting. We're trying to close above the 155 EMA. So there's that. All right. SPY. This is the one. Let me let my levels come onto the chart. All right. So, SPY, like we talked about, potentially bottomed yesterday on August the 19th. Now, what we've seen is the past 3 months, SPY is normally taking a dip during the later teens of the month, like 15, 16, 17. And then SPY has been bottoming on the 18th or the 19th of that particular month. So potentially we saw a bottom yesterday, which was the 19th. Price came down to the key level of 437 and now has pushed up to 443. So, a nice size day for SPY. I still don't want to get too bullish just quite yet. A couple things that I'm thinking about. First thing is the Fed's talking about tapering. Now, this, probably to some degree is just talking. Maybe they're not going to actually raise rates in Q4. All right. Maybe they're just going to talk about it and then kick the can down the road. We'll see. I thought that would spook investors a bit more. And I was expecting a bit more pressure on the market today because it's Friday and, that's a risky event to kind of hold through depending upon what the Fed, has to say over the weekend or anything else. Also this week, we also had the stuff going on in Afghanistan. So it was like kind of global news and global unrest. And I think that's still a potential or factor. Not quite too sure on how that would affect the markets over the weekend. You can't predict the future, but according to the charts, I mean, gun to head, you'd have to say, okay, with no additional information, without thinking at all, this is more bullish than it is bearish. All right, let's see what happens. I would like to see price get back over the upper Bollinger Band for me to get a bit more excited about riding trends or what have you. But it is what it is for right now. We'll see what happens over the weekend. Let's take a look at QQQ. All right, QQQ. Let's look. We're over 367. 367 continues to kind of be a level for us to watch. We're still below 368.50. So very similar to SPY. We're kind of sideways. Now, there could be a couple things going on here. This could be a left shoulder, right? This whole little piece of structure right here, that could be a left shoulder. This high right here could be a head. And then this right here could be the setup for a head and shoulder for a rollover, right? So we could just as easily come up to 368.50, find resistance, and then get pushed right back down. And the next thing you know, next week, things are bearish again, and you find ourselves down here near 353. All right, so that's a possibility. Let's wait and see, right? I'm not ready to just say, hey, we're going to the moon just quite yet. Let's make sure that the market completely recovers and we see continued strength next week before we start really flipping to, long positions like that or calls. All right, VIX. VIX was definitely sold off hard from the 25 level as it's been or as it's done since, let's call it May. Here's the first time it really came up to 25 and then quickly got right back below it. Tried it again in in May, later May, and then again in July, right? So Who knows, right? Who knows? Maybe come Monday, this gets right back over 20 and we start to push back higher towards 25. But eventually you would think that as this 25 level, as they keep knocking on the door, eventually they're going to bust through it. All right. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts at the 25 level. Who's to say that the 5th attempt doesn't come around next week or the next 2 weeks and pulls the market down a bit? All right. So just continue to keep an open mind. All right, let's go ahead and start with the scanners before we go into much else. All right, let's see what's bottomed, see if we can identify a couple of trends. All right, see some names that kind of match up with one another. Right now, looks like Facebook is on that list. I know we were in Facebook puts for today, and it looks like that didn't work, but I'm not quite mad at that because it was a good trade, and it was a trade that we were supposed to take considering all the information that we have. I'll cover it in just a bit. I do see Lee, and what else we got on here? Maybe Spot. Maybe we want to take a look at Spotify. Let me look at that real quick. Not really seeing a whole lot else that I'm really interested in trading here. And Spotify, it's kind of come down to that 200 level and it's trying to push off of that. I think I'm good. I'm still good with this. I'll pass on that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the uptrend scanner. All right, uptrend scanner. We got AbbVie and we got BMY. So those are both healthcare. We got Mara on the uptrend scanner. So we definitely want to add that to our list. All right, that's my favorite of the crypto names. So we'll continue to watch that. NVIDIA on the uptrend scanner. We'll cover that one today as well. I was definitely surprised by that price action for sure. So we'll look at that. Let's take a look and see what's topped and what's in a downtrend real quick, and then we'll keep it moving. All right, so Planeteer potentially topped, is still staying around 24, so we'll just continue to let that ride out for a little bit, and let's see what's in a downtrend. All right, Cliff and Snow, and we'll leave both of those alone. All right. So let me start off with another watch list that I have before I go to our main watch list. We'll kind of walk through those. And then if you guys want me to look at anything specifically, you could go ahead and start to send that to the chat. And as soon as I see it, I'll pull it up and we can kind of cover it. All right. Let's kind of pass on BT right now because that's bearish. Coin. Let me see. Yeah, I think you know what? Pfizer is about the only one I want to update here. All right, let's look at Pfizer real quick. All right, been talking about this one every day. Now, right now, this looks more bullish than anything after a few days of kind of consolidation. Like I always talk about with Pfizer, it likes to run and then cool off for a couple of days before going again. So with this one, what I would do is I would wait for a break above 49.96. So pretty much, 50. All right. If we got above 50, then I could potentially step back into Pfizer with the expectation that price is going to challenge 50.42. And we need to hold 50.42 in order for us to push higher. So, you could play it two ways. You could try to get in early if price broke above 49.96 with calls. Or you could wait until price broke above 50.42 to try to look for calls. But I will say this looks more bearish than bullish. But I'm still under the thought process that eventually this is going to retest this 45.68 level, which was a 20-year support and resistance level. All right, so 9 times out of 10, this level is going to get retested first before pushing higher. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm not thinking about something. So we'll see. All right. Let's go ahead and go over to Apple. As far as Apple goes, I'm still selling rips in Apple right now. So that means I'm more interested in buying Apple puts. All right. So as far as that goes, I think I'm actually going to go ahead and snatch up one right now. Let me send this over to the bands alert. It's just about which one we're going to get. All right. I want to get 145s. The question is, should I target next week's or the week after's? Let me see. This is 162. I do think this will roll over. Let me take a look back at the chart and kind of see how long this one took to roll over the last time. One sec here. Let's look at that. All right. So the last time Apple had earnings and it had a nice big rejection day off of the top. Let me zoom in real quick. All right. Was here, right here. This was April 29th for those who want to know the date. April 29th. So on April 29th, was one day after Apple had earnings. Price popped to 137 and then got rejected hard off of that level. All right. Consequently enough, or interestingly enough, this is the level that we're also looking for price to come back down to. So that would make a whole lot of sense now that I'm starting to see it. Price took 2 days. It kind of hovered inside of the in between the two bands, 2 days of pulling back higher. And then finally on Monday, it dropped. So I think seeing this kind of this way, I think I am comfortable going with next week's 145. So that's what I'm going to call. Let me go ahead and call those right now here. So in the bands alert, I'm calling August 27th, Apple 145 puts last at 93 bucks. All right. And I will, here, let me try to send out the screenshot. 1 second. Let me screenshot this real quick. And again, I've sent it out a couple of times to the chat. If you take a look at the earnings whisper report, then what you'll see is you'll see that they recommended selling strength for Apple. And I'm gonna stick to that for now. All right. All right, boom. So we just called that in bands alert. So that's that. Let's take a look at AMC. All right. Who's on with me? Say something in the chat if we got some folks on with us. All right, Jerome is there. That's what's up. I guess it's just me and you today, Jerome. It's all good. Fuck it. All right, let's talk about. Oh, Sam's in there. Oh, there's Charlie P. All right, you know what? I couldn't tell from my analytics. My analytics say I was in here by myself, so I was feeling lonely. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's check into AMC. So with AMC, a couple of things. we got long here on August the 18th, right? Meaning we bought calls. We had a good reason to buy calls. The reason was price was trading above 37, which is the 6-week high or the 6-week close. This was the highest close that price got to within the last 6 weeks. So what we want to see is really for price to get back over this, for us to push higher towards 42, if not 50. And I mean, honestly, I see this thing going to 60. All right. And what I see is if we can get over this level right here, this 46.38 to the low of this box is like 28. That would mean this is an 18-point box from here to there. And if we can get above this, then I'm looking for price to go 18 points higher. 18 plus 46 is, it's above 60. I think that puts us at 64. All right. So I definitely see us getting to 64. It's just about a matter of time to get there. So I was a little disappointed that we got pushed back down over the last 2 days. But I do like the fact that we pushed down towards the lower band today, as well as this 32 support level. And now we're trying to stop the fall. All right. So this looks good. What I'd like to see is next week, either on Monday or Tuesday, for us to get above the high of this candle and to make another run back at 37. All right. If we can get that close above 37 and the close above the upper band, I'm still really confident that this trade will work out for us. Another reason why we took this trade as well on this day was because we saw it was like 2.7 million in contracts that were bought for the September 1738 strike. So that was the strike that we recommended to the members. So still feeling pretty good about that. I know this contract's probably down a little, but overall, still feeling pretty good about the move. It just needs a bit more time to work. All right. So that's AMC. Let's talk about, let's talk about Facebook first before we move on to AMD. All right, let's talk about Facebook real quick. Mix, what up, Mix? Oh, you like the Zoom better too? Okay. All right, let's talk about it. Y'all hit me up over the weekend and let's discuss. All right. All right, let's take a look at Facebook real quick. So with Facebook, let's talk about the trade. So yesterday, price closed below the lower band, right? We closed below 355, 355.19. All right. And so according to the strategy, that's join the downtrend, right? We also saw Boeing do this same exact thing earlier this week, where it had a day where price closed below the lower band. Then the next day it kind of pushed up and then it rolled back over. So that's more or less what I was expecting to happen today. But that's not what happened. What happened was we closed below the lower band. And then today we broke back above 355.64 and now we're trying to push higher. Again, Mark Zuckerberg sold $54 million worth of Facebook shares on August the 17th and August the 18th. So that was this week. And he sold it at the 360 and the 370 level. So it's going to be really hard for this name to push back above those levels. I mean, unless, you get another 54 million coming back into this name and people start buying it again. And I just didn't see that, right? Especially Facebook has some bad news going on. It was a few things. There was quite a few reasons why I felt like this trade would work. It just didn't today. 9 times out of 10, it'll roll over next week. But, my apologies for those who took this one and, and it didn't work out. All right. But we had all the good reasons in the world to take it. It just was, it was a miss. It didn't happen this time. All right. Now, one thing I did want to point out is that the last time we had this dip, we hopped into calls on this date right here. All right. Price was around like 340 something. I think it was above the high of this candle. So we got in around 344. Right. Then when we got in, we had calls for the week ahead. And they ended up paying out like 3,000% because we had this big move over the next couple of days. So that means you could have put in $100 and, made $3,000. You know what I'm saying? So it was a huge trade. So looking at this one, it's potentially the same setup. All right. Potentially the same setup where price broke below the lower band. You recaptured the lower band and then you had a run up. All right. So when I was looking at this earlier, if I'm wrong, then the 370s would be the way to go, right? So let's say price doesn't roll over next week and it pushes higher. We would want to target the 370 calls for next week. So that's the Facebook August 27 370s if price does go ahead and push higher next week. All right. Now, just something to think about as we move forward, but it's there. I still think price is going to roll over. My primary reasoning is that, when the CEO of a company typically starts selling shares, that's usually not bullish. And Facebook has a lot of like bad news going on right now. Now, on the flip side, we got to look at it both ways. So it could go ahead and make a push up here towards 370. That's totally possible. On the flip side, it could also roll back over and end up down here around 342, 338. So it's just right in the middle of that kind of like tough area to call. Yesterday we gave it a try because price was below the lower Bollinger Band. Today it reversed. So what can you do? All right. So we'll just continue to keep a close eye on Facebook going into next week. But I just wanted to cover this trade and kind of how it was shaping up right now. All right. Let's go over Tesla real quick. Let me zoom in a bit. Hold on. All right, let me zoom in a little bit more. One sec here. All right. So with Tesla, it looks like we're pretty much sideways, right? Just another day of sideways. We pushed higher, we pushed lower, we didn't go anywhere. Pretty much it was like I said, that price was going to be stuck in between 688 and 675. And that's pretty much what I said this morning, and that's pretty much what happened today. We hit 688 today, and we hit 675. And at the end of the day, we're closing in between both levels. So for right now, this is nothing you can say until this makes a move, either down below 672 or back above 695. So in the meantime, hands off of Tesla, because that's pretty much just going sideways. All right, let's look at a couple other names here. Let's look at Boeing now. Man, like I said earlier in the week, I was kind of pissed that we didn't hop on the back of this one and just ride it all the way down, because that could have just been really nice, really easy price action to trade. But it is what it is. With this candle right here, this could be the sign of a reversal candle. So we'll just have to watch this one next week. If price goes above the high of today's candle, which is like really 214.74, then we might push back up towards 221. So that could be a good day trade on Monday. So we definitely should take a look at this one, just because that could be a nice, 7-point day. And on Boeing, that's probably about 200 to 400%, I would say, if you can catch the whole move. So we should definitely take a look at Boeing on Monday. All right. BYND, this one continues to play games. Yesterday, let me zoom in just a bit. All right, yesterday we had a down move, and by all accounts, it really looked like price was going to fall down towards 110. However, BYND really keeps doing this. We get a down move, a pullback, right? We had a down move. This is a pullback. So the question is, does this finally roll all the way over next week? Okay, so we'll take a look at those 110s for next week come Monday once again. All right, because I'm still not confident that this is about to push up, just because it's really just been getting whooped. All right, we had a bunch of sideways action here. Price finally broke down under 120, and now by all logic, we should head down towards 110. We haven't yet, but that still doesn't mean that we're not going to get there. All right, let's take a look at eBay. We were patient on eBay, and it's starting to come back to life for us now. So I'm still feeling pretty good if you're holding those eBay calls. We got into it right here. Immediately the very next day, price got rejected, and so we were kind of underwater. And now price is starting to find support and push back over this 73.50 level. So as long as we can hold 73.50, we should push back up towards 75 and make a run towards highs again. All right, so look for this one to be, at around 77 or 78 sometime next week, if we can continue to hold. All right, Hood, I'm not going to go over. We should go over Mara, though. Let's go over Mara. All right, so on Mara, by all accounts, this looks good. This looks real good. I'm kind of scared to kind of trade it over the weekend, because the dollar is strengthening and getting stronger, and Bitcoin is usually paired against the dollar. So you would think that if the dollar's getting stronger, Bitcoin should get weaker. But for some reason, Bitcoin is kind of one of those asset classes where it doesn't really work like that. Like, I've seen it where the dollar's got stronger and Bitcoin's gotten stronger. So we just got to wait this one out. Not only that, but also we did have earnings that were worse than expected. So take a look at this. Earnings 2 quarters ago, we only lost a penny or 10 cents per share. Then we made money. We made 87 cents per share. Then we lost money. We lost $1 per share. So earnings is definitely not headed in the right direction as far as these crypto companies are going. So you would expect for that to bring some pressure onto these charts and for these to start to break down. So we'll trade it if there's a good opportunity. Right now, we are getting the upper Bollinger Band signal, so it should be trying to uptrend. Let's see if price can't get back above 37.64, and then we can step in and get involved then. All right, but for right now, I'm still patiently cautious kind of on the Bitcoin names. I like to hop in because, man, when they go, they just run and they just don't stop. All right, but at the same time, my job is to be cautious and to kind of look both ways for you guys. All right, Netflix. This one is pushing right up into the level to watch, which is 548.73. I do like this one for a potential continuation and a move up to the next key level here for 556. However, as far as like calling the trade, I'd probably wait until Monday just to make sure that this isn't running into resistance and then getting rejected, or maybe going to pull back to 535 first and then go. All right. So I'll pause and wait on this one, but this is one where we actually should have been in it yesterday, but we passed on the trade. So it is what it is. But, you know, it's right at that key level. So Jerome, I know you've been watching Netflix. If you were thinking about starting to scale into this one, you probably want to take a look at next week or 2 weeks out and start to look at like 565 calls, I would think. Probably not going any further out than 575. All right, that's probably how I look at it. All right, NIO. Now this is one where we called 37 puts, and those are working. Yesterday, those were a bit more in the money, probably about price was about 50 cents lower, so they were up a little bit more. I'm still seeing this one that's going to fall down towards 34 or 32. We just need to give it some time. Right now, we just had a sideways day. Looking at yesterday's candle, we're basically still inside of yesterday's range. So basically no movement here on NIO, but those 37 puts are still in play. All right. All right, Nikola. We called Nikola, I believe it was September 17, 12s, looking for price to head up towards the upper Bollinger Band. And yesterday we lost the lower band. Today we recovered it. So this is trying to bottom, right? It is trying to carve out a bottom, and maybe it pushes up higher next week. We need to get back over 1014. And then if we could do that, then boom, we'll make our way quickly up to 12. But we're pretty much just holding as far as Nikola goes. All right, NVIDIA. All right, NVIDIA. Oh man, I mean, it's bullish. You know, it is. It is bullish. I still think price is going to be stuck here for a little bit though. Typically, when you have a big move like this, right? So price is just strong. We run up into 209 and then we get pushed down like 20, 30 points. So there's definitely strength or bears up here, right? They may have not shown up today. Let's see if they don't show up on Monday. All right. So if, if NVIDIA pushes down on Monday, then that would make sense because, we're kind of right here at resistance. But at the same time, if it breaks higher and gets above 208.75, then we'll probably start to take a look at calls, But for right now, it looks good, but the overall market is still shaky as hell. So we just got to be patient. All right. But quite a few good setups trying to, position themselves for us. All right. And the last move, I think I talked about PayPal already. I've been talking about it for a couple of days. Really what I wanted to see was price close above 271.72. And then I was looking to step into calls between like 290 and 300 for September 17. Let's take a look at them real quick. All right. Oh, that's September 3rd. My bad. One sec. All right. September 13th. Oh, wow. These are perfectly priced now. So if you want to hop into the 290s for September 17, I can get behind this. I could definitely get behind this trade. It would be, a bottom play, right? Where we hop into a trade because price is closed above the lower band, the red line. And then the trade is really to let price run all the way up to the green line, which currently is at 290. Okay. So I could get behind 290 calls that are like, 3-4 weeks out, because it's definitely more than enough time for the trade to work. So if you want to give, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna call it just because I've been watching it for, several days, but we'll just play it real close to the chest. All right. So if it kind of goes against us, then we'll cut it early. But for the most part, we'll try to give it some patience. So let me call this right here. The September 17 PayPal 290 calls. Last at 181. All right. So this one kind of has the same type of potential that that Facebook trade that we hit has, where it was basically a bottom play and price just ran all the way up to the upper Bollinger Band and then went past it. So it's kind of what we're looking for here with PayPal. All right, let me go ahead and circle that. Send out this screenshot to the chat real quick, and then that one's good to go. All right, sorry about that. All right, guys. I don't think I have anything else for us in terms of like trades to hop into. Do you guys want me to take a look at anything else? Mix, Jerome, Charlie P, Sam, you guys want me to look at any charts? All right. Microsoft. All right. It took off. I mean, shit, that's all we could say. You know, it just kept going, kept pushing. I don't know when this is going to take a break. I mean, it's just been like nonstop forever. You know what? It might be extended. Let me take a look at the weekly. You should find some type of natural resistance around that 300 level, so that makes sense. You know what, man? I can't say anything about it except it's bullish until it's not, you know, to be perfectly honest. If I wanted to get bearish on this, I would want price to basically break down, get back below 300, and then I'd be looking to short it. All right, so maybe buyers are coming into this. They're above 300 now. They're thinking everything is all good. If we break back below 300, then I'm looking to short it. All right, but for right now, I can't step in front of this train. You know what I mean? It's too strong. All right. Anything else? Anybody else? All right, guys. Well, if there are no other questions, I've kind of gone over the market and my thought process with what I'm expecting next week. So we just got to let it play out. Just give it a little bit of time. Quite a few plays for us to watch next week. We'll be watching Boeing, Facebook, NVDA, BYND, Apple we're in already, and PayPal we're already in. So, you know, we'll continue to be watching those. And if they, and then Netflix has a pretty nice setup too. And then Mara. Only thing about Mara is that, man, this thing could definitely gap over the weekend and we could kind of miss it. So let's look at 37s real quick for next week, just in case. Yeah, they're $1.17. I'd probably rather not gamble on that just quite yet. So I think that's it. But all right, guys, if anybody wants me to look at anything else, now's the time. Just let me know. Last chance. All right, everybody. Have a good weekend. Let me know if any questions come up inside of the chat. And outside of that, hopefully you guys hit me up with questions or feedback about the YouTube or etc. I appreciate it. All right, guys.